Hi guys, I hope you're all well and healthy. Thank you for making it. From this episode now on, we'll have an intro and outros, as you'll see. Actually, we did some enhancements on the sound also. So I guess you all hear me all right, correct? So thanks. Thank you again to Jarla and Midone and Gerd for their contributions. Today we're gonna continue from where we left off last time. So that's why actually the topic is fun with logos as well. Before I'll go on with that, I have some info to share with you. There's a new email that you can mail me. So you can also see on my desktop here. So it's muadib3d@gmail.com. So where you can ask me questions, suggest new stuff that you might want to look into, or submit your homework if you guys want to do that. There's also on the homepage you will also see, actually on Twitch's page you will actually see the web link and also some other pages. Maybe you want to donate, toss a coin to your Witcher. And there's also a real life meeting we usually hold in Amiga Ireland event. So I would be very, very happy to see you all there if you also are into events and Amiga happenings and stuff. So yeah, I think that's about all the info about that. So let's go then now into Lightwave. And let's see exactly what's going on here. Some general info. The latest Lightwave version for the Amiga that has ever been released is Lightwave 5.0R Romeo, and this can be also found here. So here you see Lightwave 3D Amiga. This is 5.00R. You can also see here, in case you've been wondering, because there is some circulation of 5.1, 5.2 Lightwave versions. These are hacked versions. Actually, this is also a hacked version. It's an abandonware. But the differences, the subtle differences on the interface and on some options here. So if you see under Camera tab, the anti-aliasing drop-down menu, you're also having enhanced low, enhanced medium, enhanced high. So this is only on 5.0R. So if you see 5.1, 5.2, they don't have this because they're actually hacks of version 5.0A. The alpha version, I don't know. Anyway, okay, we cleared this topic. So we know we have we are updated. How updated can one be on Amiga and Lightwave? But anyway, we have a very mature program. We should be proud of it, and the Amiga is very fun to work with. That's actually why we're doing it, Now, a bit info about RTG. If you have an RTG card, and you want to run Lightwave on your graphics card, modular runs just fine because you have. If you let me quit Lightwave and show you something here. So if I run modular from the beginning, just like that, and go to display tab, and under display go to options. Now here I'm going to see the screen button. Pressing the screen button gives me all those, give me PAL, all those system resolutions. So if I had installed my, a Picasso driver and configured UAE accordingly, then I would be having all these resolutions, and I would be able to choose them. So I would be able to work on very large and on a very high resolution. But that's not the case for the layout. In addition, if you work with if you want to work with the retargetable graphics, you Lightwave does not take you actually lose all these moving wire, moving front face, and moving solid options that you might be having in into previewing all those previewing your geometry, so that you will see, like, if there's any error, if there are any upside down polygons, and all these things. So you should also take account into that. That's why I ran Lightwave on AGA all those years. One other thing also, you don't have, that's your, one other thing you don't have on the retargetable graphics are the previews here. So if I load a scene and say I have some nice scenes here, I have the Amiga Ireland, the Amiga Ireland ball here. Here. So let's say I have the Amiga Ireland. I've made this nice animation on the right down here. So no, it's not this. It's not this one. Sorry. This is the animation. Yeah. So if I had an animation I want to preview on layout, so the preview doesn't work, or if it works, I haven't been able to make it work. So this computing doesn't do anything. So yeah. On the other hand, it's retargetable graphics. It's 16 million colors, and you have all these things that you don't have ham artifacts when doing your previews and stuff. Anyway, that's about it for retargetable graphics. Now, are there any questions about that? Let's look at the chat. Hi guys, hi everyone. Yes, Aris Amiga is asking, can you reduce the speed of the Amiga ball on previews? Yeah, that you can do. When you make the preview, let's say press enter to do that. So you have a frame rate. You have the frame rate buttons here. So when I press enter, when I press play, and our animation starts playing, and when I press the buttons, they can actually dynamically go down. See? So yeah, that's a nice thing to have also. So 25 frames per second is the video. I think it's a PAL video standard frames per second that we have. Film goes to 24. 25 is for video, but then you have some other formats, like NTSC has 29.97, if I recall correctly, and yeah, and so on. Anyway, that's about it regarding previews and retargetable graphics. Yeah, as Midone says right now, layout has to be mode promoted. There's a mode promotion thing as utility that comes with Lightwave that allows you to do a promotion of your Amiga screen into a retargetable graphics mode. Let's see now. Preview works fine. Okay, and this is speed. Yes. So maybe Midmon has some more clues to share about that. Anyway, we continue to our topic for today. That is the logo we did last time. We're going to develop it even further and make it into nice looking 3D thingy. Okay. Yeah, it's the playback on the preview that does not work in retargetable graphics. Yes, I think it has something to do with Amiga specific hardware. I mean, it takes advantage of the blitter, and it plays back the animation. But I don't know. Anyway, we fire up our layout. And we're going to take a look at what we did last time. So I made, I go to Object. So Object tab, and then you have Load Object button here. And then I navigate, way too much things here. I'm navigating to the, to where I've saved my logo from since last time. So when I load my logo, Lightwave automatically loads it up in relation to the point of origin of all objects, like 0, 0, 0. So we have a pseudo three-dimensional world here. The depth is minus plus z axis, and then I have the x-axis on my left and right, and the y-axis up and down. When Lightwave loads my object, it takes into account how I saved it in modular. So if I go back to modular here and import my Muadib logo, you will see that it is actually 0, 0, 0 starts here. So you will see right at my left down corner, I have the coordinates window that shows me coordinates, you know? So if I put my cursor here, 0, 0, 0, you know, I have saved, that's the way I've saved my object. And that is why, if you see here in the three-dimensional world, that's more evident in layout, you see my logo starts at 0, 0, 0. So it's not centered at all. It is as certain as centered as I had it I had it saved. Now let's see how the camera. So now I'm seeing all of my current objects visible on the scene. I can see my camera as well right now, and I am actually in a perspective view, as I can see here on the top left. So to see what the camera is going to see, I press this. So this is what the camera will see when I render my objects. And to do a frame rendering, let's press F9. So F9. With F9, I see my object. So this is it. Pressing escape, and escape once more, and this is my this is my logo as I've been. So now we're going to work a little more on my logo, on our logos, so that there will be, you know, to make it more pretty and more round and more professional looking. Anyway, back to modular. Now I have my logo here. Some cool things about viewing objects in modular. first of all, we have 4 windows. We have 3 windows, orthographic view and a perspective view. That's not activated. Let's activate it. Display, options, and on the preview tab here, second line, let's do the static solid and press OK. Okay. So let's see about what can we do. First, we have to, actually, I prefer to center all my objects, and you will see later that it's more natural to have a centered object because Lightwave sees a centered object, and actually Lightwave sees the object's point of origin as its pivot point, so that when you rotate the object, you want to rotate it with your pivot point in the you know, on its edge, right? You rotate it on its the center of gravity, as I say. There's a cool macro that can help us here. So first we want to see if it is activated, because you might have an installation that's not, hasn't activated your macros here yet. So first we go to objects, and then custom here, and then configure keys. Now what I've done here, I've configured my first 5 function keys to do stuff. So the first one, well, I have the macro that we're going to use now. The first one is called Rex Modeler. It's found in Rex Modeler, and it's called center. What it does, it centers the object on all axes. So I choose Rex script here, and then I find on the little right pointing arrow here, it's you know, I navigate through to Rex. Let's go back and see where it is. You know, so I go to Toaster or Lightwave, and then RX. And then you have modeler, and then you have center here. So you choose this, and then press OK. Okay, and now with F1, we can actually center our object. Exactly. What Midone says here, that his installation has Toaster, RX examples, LWM, which is Lightwave Modeler, center LWM, or macro, yes, LWM is a Lightwave macro. So you have to navigate a bit to see where you have it, or you can actually, like I did, I have assigned this directory with all the macros under Rex. Anyway, now that we have centered our logo, let's save it first. Save as. Now it's saved in center of gravity. Let's see how is that changed on our layout. We go to layout, object, replace object, same. And now I have to actually, let's see here, my camera is not 0, 0. Yes, exactly. So my camera remembers when the first object of the scene, the largest object, has appeared. So it tries to see everything by default. When I load my object, then and its position changes, then I go to camera, move. Let's say I want to put my camera also on 0, 0, 0. Then I press reset. Now the camera doesn't see the object because The camera is inside the object. So by having move here pressed, I press my left mouse button, and then I pull it back a bit. Pull it back until it fits all my object. Okay. Now, if I move a frame or if I do something else, this will be lost. I mean, this position, the camera position that you have now, will be lost. That's how we have to. That's why we have to keyframe it. So by pressing Enter, create motion key, and Enter again to create the motion key on our current frame, which is fine. Okay, so now we have our object centered on the world, on the in the virtual world, and my camera is looking at it. So that's where we want to have it. Anyway, back to Modeler. Jarl has a question. I quit Lightwave to run RexMaster right now. After starting Lightwave 3D again, I can see my object fine in Modeler view, but layouts shows nothing. What could be wrong? It's in layout, but not Modeler. You either have to load, see here, and under Objects tab in the Modeler, you have load, you have to load it, or you have to import it via the drop-down menu here. So Modeler is going to see which objects exist in layout, and by selecting the specific one, you load it in Modeler. So try that and see if that helps. Great. So they are different programs, but they are connected via RX. But you actually have to be careful, because you might. First of all, I actually have to advise you guys to save and load. Don't use import export yet. That's we're going to be doing in later exercises, and that is because when you make something in Modeler and you export it to Lightwave, it hasn't been saved. It's floating in memory, you know. Likewise, if you have let's say you have loaded an object in layout and you apply surfaces and all this stuff, you know, and your the object that is your geometry that is in Modeler, let's say you go back to Modeler after you have made your surfaces and working with an existing geometry, you export it, then you lose all the surfaces from layout. So a good practice is to load and save, load and save. So try not to use import and export right now, you know. Great, we have this working. Let's go now and see how we navigate the view, our view, you know, our camera in Modeler, the way we look things in Modeler. First of all, we have our mouse, you know, and pressing holding the Alt key and left mouse button moves my view around. This is my view that is moving, not the object in the world. So it is me that I'm moving. Okay, and likewise, if I change a viewport, it's the same thing. Okay, there, same thing, top view. That's done by pressing Alt, holding down your Alt key and left mouse button. Alt and left mouse button is free look view. The same Alt and left mouse button works also in the perspective view. So if I'm go to the perspective view, I'm changing the angle at which I'm looking at objects here. Okay. So that's, you know, I do stuff here. Yes, Tom. Yes, there is. But that is, since you're asking about the scene, I'm assuming that you're asking about layout. Because right now we have loaded just an object in modeler, and we're working with just one object. There is a way for both modeler and layout to have statistics and to see how many polygons, how many points are there, what kind of polygons, and what how many, if they are sane polygons, if they're not like out of their plane, because if you have degenerate polygons, they don't, their object doesn't look nice in rendering. That's called, I think it's called display. Then you go to stats, display stats, and then you have points and polygons. So non-planar polygons are also mentioned here. We'll go into it into a later episode. Okay. So back into looking at things and navigating around the 3D world in modeler. With Alt, left mouse button, said this is the same thing. The same thing happens with the right mouse button. It's the same function exactly. So if I have strayed away from my object and want to go back to, if you want to recenter it and resize my point of view, I press A. Okay, so A centers back everything. Now, if I want to focus on a specific in a specific place, let's say I want to focus on the dot on the eye, I put my cursor there and press G, and it has centered there. So if I want to center on U, I press G again, M, and I can fool around. Oops, and I might get lost. I go back with A. A is refocusing, resizing everything to fit our viewports. Now our viewports can be resized according to my taste. Let's say I want to work on my face viewport here. Then I put my mouse cursor here and the right mouse button, and then I see my viewport borders are being highlighted. Then by holding right mouse button, I can resize it, resize everything according to my taste. Here, top, and here I have the preview, but if I release it, it's okay again. Okay. Back. There. So you might want to play around with these after the course. So let's recap. Up to now we have Alt and left or right mouse button, seeing what's happening. You can see also that my preview here follows exactly my center of focus to compensate. So you can also see that the center of my rotation here is not the same as it was before. Oops. That looks like a demo, Anyway, pressing A again, and I focus. G, focus specific things. A again, and now I have to, let's say I want to work in a detail here, and I'm zoom in and out. By zooming in and out is zooming in is the period key. Zooming in. and my comma key is zooming out, so they are side by side, so you can't miss it. Now, if I want to zoom 2 increments, I press Shift, I hold Shift, and I do either the comma or the colon. Okay. So single ones and double ones. Great. Okay. A again. So this is how we go around. So this is a nice example. Let's say I want to work on the dot. So I put my cursor there, G, and colon, period, colon, I don't know, period, no. And then I do, anyway, okay. That's how you view stuff in Modeler. So viewing around, but we haven't done anything yet to our object. So let's see, what can we do to make it better than the abomination it was on layout. Let's start by selecting stuff. So the thing is, everything we have done, for example, let's say I want to focus here. No, we showed a bit. Actually, I showed a bit in our last episode how we select. We either press and by holding down our left mouse button, I can select everything. Okay, I can deselect everything by pressing here on my polygon count. If I want to work with points, I have to change the mode, and I do some point selection. But I'm too far out. I can't see anything. So the first thing is, let's say let's focus here. I press G and it focuses, and I go in. Now I have a better view. Alt and mouse, and now I can see more. Okay, I deselect everything by pressing here. Let's say I want to see these 2 points. Now I can focus automatically and have my screen be filled with only those selected elements I have here, and I do that by Shift A. So I have select now I have in my focus all the 6 points I have selected. You see here I have selected all of these three as well, because they are on the z-axis. But if I deselect those 3 here, and I have only these 3 selected, and do Shift A again, then I'm really zoomed in. You know, I've really zoomed in and see what's going on there. Great. Donuts. Great. Donuts is a nice thing, especially for cups. Anyway, so to zoom in my selection, I have Shift A, that is focusing again what I have selected. The same goes for the polygons here. I see I've changed the mode, polygon mode. Shift A again, and deselect. Now let's work a bit on our object. We are going to be making our object to look more round here. So if let's say I zoom in, and I see here on my preview that my front side, the front side of the letters, it's too rough and too unrealistic. So what we're going to do, we're going to smoothen out our the front side. So here, hold on, there we're going to be smoothing out this these surfaces here. Again, so let's zoom in a bit. We want to work on the left side now. And I actually have two ways of doing that. I can lasso my polygons of interest with my right mouse button, and I have all the front side selected. Or, and this is the third, actually it's the third way of selecting things in modular. I press the volume, so you see the volume button here. The first selection is called exclude. If I do it again, it's called include. What we're going to need now is the exclude. And what it does, with my left mouse button, I draw a rectangle around my surface, the surface of interest. So it might not be visible now, but I have selected my front side polygons here. Okay, so thing is, this you should actually be aware that if you edit something here and at the end of your action, let's do an example of it. I think it should be better. Say I want to move I want to thicken my logo a bit. So I go to the front, so there. Okay. So right now I've edited my front face polygons, but at the end of this action, right now the rectangle that is showing my selections, it says that I have not my front face, these front face polygons selected anymore. I have to resize that. While if I do the polygon thing, let's do an undo here, undo with uniform. But right, whereas if I do this, if I select with my lasso and I decide to change my object, the polygons remain selected. So I can work even further with them. So we will choose this method in choosing our polygons. Press polygon, lasso with right mouse button, and there. Okay. So let's start by rounding in our front face polygons. What I usually do is I go with my cursor here, I focus it, I zoom in quite a bit. Wait a minute, let's take this little point here so that I have the A. Let's zoom there and do, yes. Now I have it, now I have the side of the logo here. So if I, there, already pointed there. So I want to see the detail, how it's going to be round. Anyway, we go on. Multiply, tab, and under sweep here, first one is called bevel. So we are going to bevel it. The important thing now is to look at the grid here. It says 20 millimeter. So each rectangle here, each rectangle on the grid is 20 millimeter. What I want to do is like take just 5 millimeters, like 5 millimeter inset and 5 millimeter shifting. So let's write that down. Inset 5 millimeter and shift 5 millimeter again. edges inner, surface source, and then I started rounding my object. See? So let's see it again. Here, I want to do there. Okay. So let's say I want to do some, let's do some more. Bevel or B under multiply sweep bevel. And let's say I want to do inset. That's the same. I leave inset as the same, and shift. I shift it less. So let's say 2 millimeter. Not 2 meters, but not 2 meters. 2 millimeters. Enter, enter, and now it's even more round. So as you see here, I've rounded my logo. So that's going to be it's going to be looking very much nicer than our first crude attempt. Okay. So let's go and see how it looks on our in layout. I save first. Okay, to save foreground layers. Read always this, because if you're working with many layers, you might save accidentally something into something else's place. Muadib logo, yes, save. Then I go layout, and I do object, replace object, Muadib logo, and yeah, F9. Now it looks more round here, but there's still work to be done. I'll go back to modeler, and now I'm gonna surface all these things I've done. So I don't want the same surface around the object, because if I try to, let's say I'm in layout and surfacing, and I press this little button, that's very miraculous, but it can also show errors. So as you see here, with smooth on, I see errors, I see lines where they shouldn't be, artifacts that's not good. So I have to resurface my object, and this is how we're going to do it. Again, on our left side, zoom in. We zoom in with G here, focusing, period key, zooming in there. And now is where I'm going to be using the volume selections. That's very useful. So we're going to be selecting. I'm going to be selecting first. I'm going to start with these two. Unzooming a bit. Going on with my selection. Unzooming a bit. And G. Continuing. Expanding my selection until it takes the whole, until it encompasses the whole side. So I have right now these front polygons are selected. So I'm going to take my object apart. I'm doing by X, which is cut. So I've cut it all. This, you see on the preview, the front polygons have disappeared. And now by pressing 2, I'm going to the next free layer, and I'm pressing V, which is paste. Okay, so I have my objects here. But what I want to do now, I am zooming in. Actually, before I zoom in, I continue into into narrowing down my selection here. So if I zoom in now, G and period key, you can see that my rectangle stops, and it has selected my front face polygons, because I want to separate them for the time being from my object, so that I will be able to resurface them. So with these selected, now I have the flat one selected. X for cutting. Can't show anything, but it will be evident right now. And onto a new layer, number 3. Layer number 3, and V for pasting. So if I press A now, I have my front, you see, I have my front face polygons here. One thing to point out, the shortcut for changing the mode here is space. So you might want to have it in mind. So now we have three layers, and we have the side polygons. Layer 2 has the beveled polygons, see, and number 3 has the front polygons. So we will resurface them accordingly. So let's start by the front side polygons, and go to Polygon, tab, and transform surface. Pressing surface. Now press Muadib logo, but that was the whole. So I say Muadib front face. Muadib front, just like that. It's enough. Muadib front. I continue, go on. Layer number 2. Go again, transform surface. Muadib bevel. So I don't know. Apply. And the third and last layer on my object is again the side polygons, surface, polygon surface, Muadib side. Okay, apply. Okay. So now that we have all these 3 layers, but my object is in pieces. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I am going to select all these 3 layers at the same time by holding down Shift and pressing the uppermost rectangle. Now we see our object is full, but this is not so. This is just the 3 layers that are simultaneously visible, and pressing X, which is, or let's be safe for the moment and press C, which is copy. It's just like, Control X, Control C, Control V. But in Modeler, they are just single keys, X, C, and V. So I'm copying it, going to layer number 4, paste, and now wait a minute, yeah. Now my object is complete, almost complete, because I have to do one more step, which is I have to merge some points that this is like optimizing your object, but it's a nice practice to do so when you are merging, when you split objects and remerging them and having like 2 points populating the exactly same point in space. So we do that by going to Polygon tab and revise merge. Oh no, sorry. It is in here, tools, merge, points merge here. And we do an automatic merging. So Lightwave informs us that 1670 points have been eliminated, which is actually good for us because we'll be using less memory for rendering the object and so on. So after we've done that, we are on our layer that we have summed my final object. I see, I'm very happy with it. Then I go to, let's save it. I'm saving it. I'm not doing anything more with that. Save. Muadib logo. Yes, I'm happy with that. And this is done. Okay. Do you have any questions regarding these modeling steps right now? Okay, I'm seeing some I'm reading some professional opportunities here, some other off-topic things. Great. 10 mark, yes, we can discuss that, of course. I'm doing it on both. I'm working both Amiga, real Amigas and WinUAE. Right now I have WinUAE. I have a very not it's a decent laptop, but it can't I cannot ask any more of it right now, like capturing from real Amiga to although that may not be the case. It might be that might be feasible, but anyway. Now great, I see here. Okay, question number 1 that is on topic. How can we clear the previously sliced object from memory? Are you talking about the first 3 layers, you mean? Is this ones? Okay, yeah. So let's clear this up. So we have XCV, that is cut, copy, and paste. On the left of X is Z. Z is also delete. So you either press Z and everything disappears without having been cut into the clipboard, or you press delete. It's the same. It does the same. It has the same function. So I go to number 2, delete. Number 3, delete. So that's it. And I can, since I have saved, I can clear up number 4 as well. That is for individual layers. If I want to, I pressed undo here 4 times. If I want to clean up everything that exists on Modeler, I press Shift N, which is actually a shortcut key for this little button here. And it's worrying me now. Do you want to, all data will be lost? Data, and now I can choose from OK. So it cleans up the object and it resets my viewports. Data only to keep my viewports where it was, or cancel. That's a great question. Hold on a minute. That was mid ones. 10 mark. That's a great question. I wanted to cover it before, but just keep it. It's coming. The answer is coming now. Jarla had a question. Question seems I can only select entire text, not just left half. What I'm doing wrong? Let's see here now. When I load my text, and I see here. So Jarla, you must be talking about the volume exclude thing. This one, I guess. So so if you want to, wait a minute, is there an answer in the chat? Yeah, great. Okay, that has been answered. So if you want to, let me recap this. If you want to select only half of them, then don't come to volume mode, because volume is gonna say it's not that much of a selection. You can't you actually select a whole volume to work with. So you just change volume. You go either to point or polygon mode, and then you can select your stuff. I hope this is clear enough. So be careful in what point, in what mode you are. And yeah. Deselecting as well. It's here. Let's say I selected, deselecting here. Or my shortcut key is slash. Slash is deselecting. Okay. Great. Now, next question. How many layers of undo do we have if we delete too much? Great. Lightwave, if you press O, or let's go objects, and down there's an options selection. You will see right down in the end undo levels. I think the the maximum undo levels you can have is 15. So go right ahead and edit it at once, so that you will have sufficient undo levels to work with. Yes. Cancel. So let's see here. Interesting. So each viewport. So each viewport recalls what your selection type was. No. This is no. The mode is worked for. It is all every viewport. It's not. Let's say I work here. Okay, point blah 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 blah, and so on. If you change to polygon, you change for all the viewports, or volume again. The interesting thing is that points, the point selection are being saved. So if you cycle through these, your point selection won't be saved. Will be saved. So yeah. Another one. Katola. Now, actually, it's not that much, because we, let's say that we have to save all the time. Let's do like Shift S or S, which is saving. Okay, so do a habit of that. Also, what I find it very easy throughout the years to not save the increments of my work is like, okay, I do like a milestone. Let's say, okay, I'm saving it, stage 1. Then I'm doing some corrections, stage 2, or version 1 and version 2, so that I will be having retracing my steps if I need to go back. Anyway, let's go to layout and see what we've made of it. Now we're going to be surfacing our logo into layout. First of all, let's reload it. And now on the surface tab, I'm having not 1, but 3 surfaces to play with. These surfaces I had surfaced my object with. The Muadib front, they are flat polygons. They don't need to be smoothed out. This one. So we are going to be smoothing all the surfaces except from the front one. Smoothing. And then actually keep it like 45 degrees. We don't have to have 89.5 as it is. 45 degrees. And let's be a bit funky now. Let's get a bit funky now. Muadib side is going to be purple. Muadib bevel is going to be yellow. And Muadib front is going to be turquoise. And F9. Wow. And our actually our logo is starting to become a decent and nice logo. Let's see it from another perspective. My right cursor arrow once, and I advance a frame. And by selecting View Camera, Edit Camera, Mouse Move, I move my, I press left mouse button and I move on the 3D, on my 3D world. Then let's say I park my camera on the first letter. I'm going to say the first letter, and enter once. I verify that the number here is 1. Enter again, and now mouse rotate, and by pressing the left mouse button I do a there, just on the right. Move again, and move it a bit so that camera will be fitting the entire logo there. Enter again, enter again. So frame 0, the left cursor is there, frame 1 is there. And now let's see how my object looks like from that angle. Pressing F9. See, started becoming good. Okay, so let's go to camera, activate shadows, starting to put some realism in it. F9, and we have shadows as well. Okay. Yeah, so we are adding layers of realism right now. We must not forget that once we've made our mind on the surfacing, okay, we have to go to objects and save all objects. Now my object is saved with all the surfacing information, with all the colors and the materials that I've chosen them to how to look like. So there, and if I want to save the scene, I go here on the drop-down menu, save scene, and navigate my way to where I want to. Hold on a bit, I want to make it new. Episode 2. Homework. And Muadib logo. Now, hold on, what did I do? Yeah, oops, dot scene. Sorry, I forgot that, and I actually have to go and correct that. Let's see now. There, webcast, so 2, and I just delete that one anyway. So my scene is on episode 2's homework. Yeah, and the thing is that why we did this subdivision of the surfaces is because we cannot control the smoothing when you have both flat and rounded surfaces to work with. For example, let's say I want to do this. I'm going to show you. Let's say I want to do this logo into a golden one, a golden logo. So I'm going to surfaces. I'm going to load surface where you can. There is actually a wide variety of surfaces to play with, and I say here is gold. On 3D surface, I am positive that you also have this directory in your installation. So I choose gold. So Muadib front, I turn off, we said front side off smoothing. We don't need smoothing. So, but let's say I load the same surface to the other surfaces as well, to the other object parts as well, not surface. So let's see what's going to happen now. So my logo is very nice, actually. Let me put some more color, some more like light. See, and that's with no anti-aliasing yet. I haven't done any anti-aliasing yet. So if I turn on, let's go a bit. Let's go like frame 2 will be a bit more here. There. Frame 2. So frame 2, it shows our work much more in much more detail here. So what would happen if I activated smoothen that? Muadib front smoothing. So you get this distortion that's unrealistic, and it's actually not needed because all the polygons exist on one plane. That's not what we wanted. There are ways to do your font, your logo much more round that it won't be visible at all. That is the front, but right now we want it flat, and this is not the way we want it to look like. Yeah. So that's about it. I'm gonna save my logo, like Muadib golden logo. There. So that's about sums it up regarding all the things I wanted to discuss with you. Do you have any questions? That's amazing. So I have an idea, guys. Why don't you make some of your own, something entirely new, an entirely new logo that says whatever you want, and you bevel it and put surfaces in it, and then I'm going to why not go in amigaraytracers.com and submit your own creations during the week before the next episode. Huh? How about that? I'm going to be adding sub forum just for this episode. It will be under tutorials, I guess. Yeah, tutorials episode 2. So under there, you're going to be submitting your own work. Okay. Play around. So I will be around for a while, but I'm going to be turning off this stream, so that's it. To recap our episode. Okay. Any other question? Last questions before I close. Welcome, guys. Anyway. Okay, let's fire up the outro now then. Thank you again. See you next week.